Hi guys, Crystal here, and I want to talk to you today about my spiritual counseling services that I provide. I've never really charged for spiritual counseling, and I've been doing this since 1986, the harmonic convergence. I've studied a lot in metaphysical stuff, studied a lot in alternative medicine over the last, well, over a lifetime, but especially over the last 25 years. I've studied a lot on a lot. I'm a bit of an information junkie, and this camera shuts off a lot on me, so I might be checking it a lot. Hopefully it doesn't annoy you folks. Anyway, I provide spiritual counseling to folks to help them to make their life better. Some people call it life coaching. I prefer to call it more like intuitive consulting. I do something called a medical intuit, to help people to see what's going on in their body. I do energy healing. And with this, moving into where I'm charging just kind of by the session, I do spiritual counseling by the minute. I do it by chat. I can do it by email. Sometimes just different reports on what I'm getting about people. And again, I've done this for 25 years, and I've decided recently that I really want to dedicate more of my life to this. And so in order to do so, I have to find a way where I can charge for it so that I can make a living and do what I love. I do spiritual counseling for children, kind of a life coaching, helping children to figure out what it is that they want to do with their life. And instead of, where school is like kind of a broad-based education, it's more like trying to get them to understand what their calling is, what they truly love. And it's hard in the way that things are today. I believe that school should be more like trying to, almost like say there's a rock and the sculpture's already there. You just have to see what it is instead of trying to make that rock into what you want it to be. And children are kind of the same, that they know who they are. It's just oftentimes they're not listened to. So what I do is help them to find that, and I've worked with a lot of friends of mine and mothers that I know. I've worked with their children. I've never really charged for that, but I'm good at it, and I'd like to do that more in my life. And in order to do so more in my life, I have to charge for this. So I also provide counseling on and advice on alternative medicine. I've studied alternative medicine for over 20 years. I've helped family members with cancer, and I myself have had some issues where I've done alternative medicine too. We're not allowed to say cure, right? Well, my belief is that if one person has cured themselves of cancer or anything else, then so can you. Okay? There's a lot of information out there on cancer, on alternative medicine, on energy healing, on, well, everything. And I've found with that too that my family members call me a lot for information because, well, even though now you can Google stuff, of course, but what I do is I can intuitively read what is going on with you, and then a lot of things I just know off the top of my head because I've studied it for over 20 years. But I'm also going to do some things where I'm reading to you folks because people just don't read anymore, and there's so much stuff you can find online, but at the same time, sometimes people just like to just kind of have that as a background where they're getting information, but they don't have to read themselves, and they don't have to Google it and research it. And a lot of times people don't even know what to research. So if they have some sort of chronic issue, they don't know how to find an alternative cure for it online or what to really do. And then even if you do, like just basically switching to organic eating, organic foods costs a lot of money, and whereas Western medicine, for example, is a lot of times paid for by insurance, everything's free, and so you can get into that system. People don't know where to begin in alternative medicine. And even if nothing's working in Western medicine and they want to move into alternative medicine, they don't know where to begin. So I provide counseling on these issues. I do energy healing, long distance healing. I do energy work in person. I've been a healer my whole life. I've never really done it for money. I just do it for friends and family and people who come in and out of my life. I just run into people and give them spiritual readings, and then they seek me out and ask for more. And I feel like I'm speaking with their spirit guides, their angels, the spirits around them that are trying to help them to be their best person. And they often can't hear that. And I often can't hear that for myself, and then I seek spiritual counselors to help me. Intuitive consultant is kind of a good name for what I do, but I'm very spiritually based. So I'm always coming from a place that is of your highest and best good and the highest and best good of all. And, when you get a reading, you always have free will. And, of course, it's not like I'm saying something is set in stone. I'm just empowering people's lives by telling them what I see, and also bringing in knowledge from my life, kind of things that I have learned. I'm 43 now, the things that I've learned over my entire life that I can help them to apply. But also, I'm very intuitive, and I also feel like I'm communicating with an energy that I don't fully understand that is of their highest and best good. So I didn't necessarily move into the space with the person knowing this about them. I'm just getting it when I'm with them. And sometimes I don't even remember what I was getting, almost like, I guess you could call it channeling in a way, but I don't really look at it that way either. I just look at it as I feel a sense of urgency to tell this person this particular thing. And sometimes it upsets people because they're like, no, that's not me. But then they think about it and they're like, okay, well, thank you for the information. I'll consider it. I don't really think I'm ready for that. Or then they think about it later and they realize that it kind of came from their higher self or their spirit guides or whatever, and that is what they want to do. They just hadn't given themselves permission to do it. So I can help you to do that. I've also been known most of my life as, spiritually, in the spiritual community, as a systems buster and a light worker. Because whatever's going on with people, I come in and I bust up the system, but it's really hard for them because they don't want to change the way everything's been, But I can do it in a gentle way and help you move through slowly, help you get clear goals and what to do to take baby steps to get to where you want to be. Whether it's your health, your relationships, your own spiritual connection to divinity, whatever that is for you. If you say God or Goddess or the Great Spirit, if you're a Buddhist, whatever you personally believe for yourself. For some reason I got stuck on that word. But it's about you. I can help you to empower you on what is your bliss and what you can do for you. I have this program called the Rat Race Removal, where I can guide you to making money on the internet so that you can get out of the rat race. See, the more you pray and ask for guidance and clarity, the more you're going to get that in your life. But sometimes people doubt that. I doubt it myself, and I reach to spiritual counselors outside of me. I give that to people. I give them spiritual guidance, and by that I don't necessarily mean just their guidance in prayer or in their spiritual connection to like a divinity or God or Jesus or whatever. What I mean is that helping them with their health, helping them with money, helping them with real estate issues, energy, doing stuff online, maybe writing stuff online, maybe they want to get books out, pictures out, make money doing what they love, helping them to get rid of the debris so that they can find out what it is that they love, and helping them to know what it is that really makes them high and happy in what they want to do, and to be able to do that for money. So that, oftentimes people spend a lifetime doing things for money that they don't want to do, and then they lose all the money anyway, or they lose touch with their children. And I can help you to build better relationships with your children and maybe work on things like anger management with children. One of the best things with anger management is to help your child to be good at something. Being really good at something takes away anger. And now whether it's dancing or acting or music, or I guess in some cases sports, football, whatever, to be really good at something helps kids to be less angry. It helps people of all ages and children of all ages, but especially teenagers, because they don't fit in, right? And what if they're not good at sports? Maybe they're good at writing. Maybe they're good at a certain instrument. Maybe whatever it is that they're good at, that they love and they're blissful about, this will help them to, well, stay alive for one, to have a will to live, to not be depressed, to not be angry, to listen to you more, to have a more personal relationship with you because you're hearing them on what they love. I can help them find what they love and help you guys communicate. Oftentimes, whether it's a couple or children and their parents or one parent, what I can do is they're speaking totally different languages. For some reason, they're not able to hear each other. So it's like having a middle person, you can call it a mediator, arbitrator, whatever. But I'm connecting with their spiritual guidance and the parent's spiritual guidance and saying, here's what they're really saying, here's what's really needed. Now, you can take what I say or leave it. Oftentimes, people just love it because I'm right on. And I'm not saying I'm always perfect at it. I come from a place that is the highest and best good of everybody involved. I do the best I can to make sure that everybody's left with their egos intact, and that people know what to do next, okay? And then check in, and then we kind of follow up. So I'm not saying you have to keep paying me and following up with me. Once you get the original information, you can research it and go forward. If you want to continue working with me, you can continue working with me. Anyway, this is just kind of a brief overview of the spiritual counseling that I'm providing. And I'm now charging for that. Again, I've been doing it since 1986, which is the harmonic convergence. And I've been doing it for friends and family. I do readings online, and I do readings via chat. I will just contact people when I feel spiritually, connected to that. I run into people. People walk up to me and ask me questions. People see me on a bus. They come up to me and they got to know stuff. And I've been doing this my whole life, really. I was 16 in 1986. But now I'm going to do it for money. So I'm going to charge per minute. I'm going to do some energy healing work per session, and doing this for money so that I can do it all the time. Because I feel that I have value to the world in doing this service, and I seek this service out in others, because it's kind of like the contractor who don't necessarily finish their house entirely. I know a lot of stuff, and I get a lot of intuition, but I still have my health issues. I have my doubts. I have directions I don't know which way to go, and I have spiritual counselors that I call to help me. Counselors need counselors. But anyway, I am very good at this, and I would love to work with you folks. And if I'm not your cup of tea per se, I have my spiritual counselors that I go to that I would recommend to you. Anyway, you can email me, reverendcrystalcox@gmail.com. You could call me at 406-624-9510 and leave a message. And there'll be links at reverendcrystalcox.com to pay ahead of time and schedule an appointment with me. I look forward to working with you folks. My intention is of the highest and best good. I am in deep prayer when I'm helping you, and I really want to help raise the vibration of Mother Earth and her people, one person at a time. Helping you helps the vibration and makes the world a better place for us all. Have a great day. Take care.